Hi, this is Jim Stone, creator of the Split Test Accelerator and Landing Page Optimization Expert. I'm here with a three-part video series called Fast Landing Page Optimization, and this is part one, the big problem with split testing. Here's why you should pay close attention to this video. We're going to discuss the fantastic wealth multiplying power of split testing. Then we're going to discuss the number one problem with split testing that might keep you from the results that you deserve. And finally, we're going to discuss an elegant and profitable solution. So what is a landing page? Well, a landing page is a page on your website that you send visitors to. You want visitors to take at least one type of action, like a sale or opt-in, or they click on a link or submit a post on a blog or something like that. Now, here's an example of a landing page. Amazon's front page, you're all familiar with that. This is a place where they send visitors and they want those visitors to take certain actions. So what is landing page optimization? Well, landing page optimization is a process of making changes to a web page with the hope of getting more visitors to take a desired action. So what is split testing? Well, split testing is an orderly way of doing landing page optimization. You try new versions of your landing page and you compare the results to the results you get with the original version. And you typically use software to split the traffic for you and to do the reporting so you know what's what. So, go back to the Amazon.com landing page. Which version is better? This page has the Kindle as their main thing, and maybe they want to test Avatar Blu-ray DVD, see how that does. Basically what they do is they have a goal, which is maybe more profit. They serve half of the traffic version A and they serve half version B, and then they see which is more profitable after a while. Now, Amazon doesn't exactly do it like that. I'm sure they don't send exactly 50% to a new test, but that's the basic idea. So what are the benefits of split testing? Well, there are three main benefits I want to discuss right now. One is increased immediate profits, and we're going to look at a detailed example shortly. Second is increased marketing leverage, and people don't often realize how important this is. With greater profits, you can afford more advertising and you can actually interest more joint venture partners. Finally, you have an increased development budget. You have extra cash laying around and it allows you to quickly develop back-end products without having to do all that much work yourself. You can hire it out. So how much can profits increase? Well, here's an example. You spend $100 to get 100 people to your site, let's say. Let's just say you're paying $1 per click to get people to your site. You offer a product that gives you $128 in margin for every person that buys. And we're going to see what the difference is between getting one visitor out of 100 to buy the product versus getting two visitors out of 100 to buy the product. So here's the chart. Notice you have 100 visitors to each thing. Your ad costs are $100 in both cases. When you get one sale out of 100 visitors, you have $120 in margin, and you get $240 in margin if you get two sales. Remember, your ad costs are only $100 in each case, so in the case of making one sale, you have a $20 profit. In the case of making two sales, you have a $140 profit. That's a seven-fold profit increase, even though you only had a two-fold sale increase. So what's the bottom line? Your conversion rate doubled. Your profits went up sevenfold. If you were making $10,000 a month before, you'll be making $70,000 a month after. Plus, you'll have more advertising leverage to attract more visitors and joint venture partners. And you'll have a bigger development budget. And what's the real benefit? Well, you can take a deep breath and relax. You can hire a personal assistant. You can hire other people to run your business, or at least do the parts that you don't like. You can sip drinks at your favorite beach while your profit powerhouse fills up your bank account. But don't let me tell you what financial freedom would mean to you. Ask yourself, what does financial freedom mean for you? And that's what split testing can provide you if you start with a product that's already profitable and maybe has tight margins. Now, before you take out a mortgage on that new house, let me warn you about some things. Split testing is simple, but it's not always easy to get good results. There's one big problem that most split testers face. That's part B, the number one problem with split testing. So what is the number one problem with split testing? Is it that you don't get started? That is a big problem, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. Is it that you're not smart enough? No. I guarantee you, if you figured out how to watch this video, you're smart enough to do split testing as well. They only do simple split testing and don't do multivariate testing. You might hear more from me about multivariate testing at some point, and it is important. It does speed things up. It does give you better results, but that's not the number one problem. It's not any of those. It's this. something called narrow thinking. What is narrow thinking? Here's an example. Consider this control headline. Who else wants to learn how to optimize their landing pages? And consider this as an alternative you might want to test. Learn how to optimize your landing pages. Those aren't very different, those two headlines. That is extremely narrow thinking, and the results are going to be very similar. You're not going to actually improve on the original headline very likely with the second one. Now, what's an example of a more creative alternative? You want more sales? Make sure your website sucks. Is the more creative headline good? I have no idea. It might be a dog, it might not work at all, or it might be really good. But it's good in this sense. It's very different from the control. Let's look at an example to see why this is a good thing, to have things very different. Now, with narrow thinking, you're going to get results like this. If all your headlines are very similar to each other and your control is 1%, your other headline that's close to it might be 0.9%, another might be 0.7, 1.2, etc. And they might all average out to be about the same as your original headline. Now, with creative thinking, you have your original headline at 1%, and you try something wildly different. Maybe it's a dog. You don't know ahead of time, and it gets 0.3%. Terrible. But you have another one that's wildly different, and it gets 2%. Another one's wildly different as a dog. It gets 0.4. You see, you run the risk of having a bunch of complete dogs, but you also run the risk of having something that's really a lot better than your control. Now, which ideas were better? Which set of ideas? The narrow thinking ideas or the creative thinking ideas? Well, in one sense, the narrow thinking ideas are better, right? The average in this example is 1%. And for creative thinking ideas, there were a lot of dogs. They weighed down the average as 0.9%. However, that's not the important thing to look at. The important thing to look at is this. All you have to do is look at the number one creative. If the number one creative is better than the control by a lot, then you've got a good test. It doesn't matter if you had some dogs in there with it, because you're not going to run those. You're only going to run the one that won. And in this case, with the narrow test, you only got a 20% improvement. With the creative test, you got a 100% improvement. That's what you want, okay? So what's the lesson here? You want volatility in your results. The way to get volatility is to get very different ideas in your test. You try to make them all good ideas. You're not trying to make dogs, okay? But the very fact that you're making them very different means you run the risk of having some dogs, but you also run the risk of having some very good ideas that outperform the control by a lot. So it's even more important to make sure all of your ideas are wildly different. Now, how do you get more creative ideas? Well, unfortunately, we all kind of fall prey to undeniable fact number one. And I dare you to deny this. You can only think of things you can think of. It's pretty undeniable. Now, you can't help narrow thinking, and neither can I. We can only think of the things we can think of because we have a particular cultural perspective. You know, we have a particular worldview. We have a particular gender perspective. You have a particular professional perspective. You have a particular educational perspective. So what are the solutions? Well, one is to expand your own thinking, and you will do this naturally over time. You know, you get the seasoned, grizzled veterans of marketing, and they have a much wider view than most people just starting out. However, even their view is fairly limited compared to what can happen when you get outside help. You get a whole bunch of people from different perspectives looking at your thing and trying to make it better. That's where you can get the truly breakthrough ideas. So watch the next video, and we're going to discuss how to get a wide variety of outside ideas that will produce outstanding split testing results for you for free